at you again. It is the Bennett Brothers podcast for the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. television show, and I'm Jerry Bennett.
And I'm Joel Bennett. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we are a podcast dedicated to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In this specific podcast, we will be talking about the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. television show on ABC. The most recent episode being Failed Experiments, which we will spoil the heck out of. We will give you our critiques, our analysis.
There you go.
And that too, Easter eggs, comic book connections, general information, things like that. But we're going to talk about it. We're gonna go into it in depth.
There you go.
Yes. This is a big episode for us because it is the episode before Captain America Civil War comes out, which for us it comes out tonight on a Thursday night showing, but we'll be seeing it. I will be seeing it tomorrow. Jerry will be seeing it on Saturday, and we will be podcasting that for you, our reaction, our response, our review.
I guess we're going to do something on Sunday, it sounds like.
Yeah, that sounds like what it's going to be. So
I don't
look
think
forward
it's a big
to that.
episode. I think this is not a big episode.
For me it is. I like to think that the best this show is when it's tying into before and after the movie. Now, I don't expect the before to be very...
And you were correct.
I was very correct, but I'm really hoping that the after has some sort of play in our show. I don't think it will. I
think it will be referenced in like, oh, that's going on.
Yeah, I think it'll be referenced, but I don't think it's going to have a play in our show. But I really, really want to be wrong. I really want to be wrong, but I don't know how I'll be wrong. We hope you enjoy it. If you want to get in touch with us, check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/Bennett Brothers Podcast. Check us out on Twitter @Bennett Bros Pod. Send us an email at BennettBrothersPodcast@gmail.com. That's how you say it. We're also all over the internet. Take a look at some of our older episodes on iTunes. Give us a like on there. So,
I'd like to say thanks to some of the comments we got on Facebook from Jen Varda and from Derek Pender. Appreciate that. And also many, many comments from, as we will just now be calling him, Varda.
Varda V.
Varda. And also he made the comment that, first off, he listened to the Daredevil podcast and he appreciated my very, very terrible opening for that one. But then he also commented, that was the Talk to the Hand comment, which was brilliant. But then he also commented on the last podcast where I made a very failed attempt at doing a Gambit imitation, which I won't repeat here.
Was that your attempt? Good. I didn't know if I attempted it. I couldn't remember.
Ooh, I could say
Nope,
it was
nope,
yours.
It was yours. But we should do the whole episode with that now.
No, Gambit, no.
Me. That's all I got.
That was Joel.
That was
Varda.
me.
Go after him.
That was me, and that's
so
why
I will be doing
amazing.
no more. I've never been a fan of doing the Gambit, but I thought I'd try one, and I failed.
It's okay.
I'm over it. But
We all
thank you
can't
for keep up. I love it. If anybody wants to comment on our Facebook page or just sending likes or reviews or positive stars on iTunes, we appreciate it because it gives us feedback and we know that it's being listened to.
The other big thing is we now have a YouTube page up, so check us out on there. The podcast will be posted on the YouTube page. There's some.
Well, hang on. I did one. Okay, I did the last one, and it took some time to do. I may do another one or so. I'll try it.
If you
I think I'll do the movie ones
it.
for sure. Yeah, let us know if you're going to the YouTube. It is just the podcast with some visuals, a couple of stills where there's no appropriate. Other than that, it's just visuals going. And there are spots when we actually do use clips from the show, audio-wise. The visuals are up there just to see if that's something to look at. So if you want to see us on YouTube, I'd love to know. Hey, let us know if you're.
And if you actually want to see us on YouTube,
no.
We could set the camera up. We could sync it all up together. It'll be
then
great.
but then the editing would be gone, and it'd be like, wow, these guys say a lot of he. Because we're this.
What are you talking about? We speak perfectly.
I know this show usually is like between 45 and 50 minutes. It's 2.5 hours of us crunched down to that time period. It feels like that when I'm putting.
Jerry just cut out like 5 minutes right there.
Yeah. That whole thing when you went on about. Oh, it was crazy.
Bacon.
That bacon argument.
That bacon bit. It always comes up. Bacon bit. Look at that.
Okay. Now, normally we also do some news right here before we get into the episode, and not a lot of news that I can think of. The Civil War is, again, Joel said it's this weekend, and that'll be our next podcast, and that's where a lot of the information news-wise is out. There's, I was asking Joel, they had these WHIH television reports, these little 2 and 3 minute clips. They've done 3 or 4, maybe 5 of them. I've watched them. They're just cute little point counterpoints, like if they were news programs within the Marvel universe. And the fact the actress playing the character who was in Iron Man 2 and 3, she's one of them. She's the news pundit. I don't remember her name. She's one. That,
Okay. I have not seen
But
these,
like the
so.
last one actually had William Sadler, who actually played Matthew Ellis.
The president.
He shows up in that one. So they're nice little bits. They could be 1,000 times worse. So I've watched them each and I'm like, oh, okay, that was nice. So well done.
Good. Those are things that are going to be on the Blu-ray when they're released.
Yeah, lots of build up for the new X-Men Apocalypse. That's the next big thing out there. We've seen, possibly, excitement for the New Mutants movie, which I'm very excited if they actually go with what they're talking about, showing who the cast members of that or the characters might be. There's word that Supergirl, which still has not given a renewal for CBS, may actually get a renewal, but go to the CW with a lower budget, which would then in turn kill that show as far as I'm concerned, because the budget is the only reason I watch
I think they do a great job with the Flash and the budget they have on that show. Some people disagree. I've actually talked to people who they think Killer Shark doesn't. I'm like, Killer Shark looks amazing.
But like doing the Flash effect, I think they've got it down to a science. And don't get me wrong.
Oh,
yeah, I agree. They do
the science
more,
is they show some
everybody
lightning and then everyone stand and throw some paper in
and they
there.
got the old shit.
Why do they always have paper laying
paper? I did a video shoot where I had somebody do a special effect where they were running out of the shot, and I'm like, oh, and I quickly got low and I threw paper. I'm like, that's it, sells the shot.
Yep.
But yeah, that's that.
They're always cleaning up paper.
The Supergirl show has
paperless
some,
in this job.
For a television show, they have to definitely use that budget because
The
they need
CBS budget.
Yeah, and that's all the news that I think is worth talking about. Anything from you?
We had the Star Wars Day yesterday. Nothing huge about that, except for Jerry had mentioned that during this podcast, I think they've announced who the young Han Solo is going to be.
Yes, and there's a possibility he may do a show up in the Rogue One movie. We'll see. Yes, yesterday was May the 4th be with you, but today is Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the 5th.
But that brings us to our episode we're going to get into called
Yes.
Failed Experiments.
Failed
And Joel-
experiments. S. There's a plural at the end of that because there are many failed experiments in this episode.
Joel, did you want to give us your first opinion?
Okay, so my first opinion on this episode, and I have a feeling this is going to be one of those episodes that the more we talk about, the more I'm going to like it. My first opinion, I think, wasn't as high as it's going to turn out to be, is probably because I'm super psyched for Captain America Civil War, and I want tie-ins. I desperately want the tie-ins from the television world and the movie world. And I know we had Nick Fury twice.
Twice.
We had Lady Sif. We've had
The President.
We've had Maria Hill. We've had references here, and obviously after Captain America Winter Soldier, we had a huge change, and I love that. But we haven't had that for a long time, and that's what I want, and I desperately want it, and I did not get it with this episode. That being said, I think the more we talk about this episode, the more there are things I'm going to find that I really enjoyed. What about you? What do you got? You like it?
What do I got? I'm very disappointed with this episode.
Really?
Very disappointed. Yeah, this was a filler episode. This episode just just kind of spun its wheels and like, okay, let's fill it out. You could take this episode out of the lineup and miss this episode, and a recap next week is like, oh, okay, didn't really miss anything. Didn't miss anything. There are moments in this episode that are nice, but this was probably one of the weakest ones of the season.
Well, I think this is the lowest point for everything. We talk about that,
that doesn't
we talk
necessarily
about
make
that
a bad
with Peggy
episode,
Carter. No,
though.
I'm saying like this is the lowest point for our entire cast. Like I don't think it gets lower than this.
Well, it's gonna get lower for one of them.
Oh, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what the heck that's gonna mean yet when they go into space. What's going on?
Well,
Anyways,
you know what that's gonna be? That's gonna be somebody sacrificing and taking Hive up to space, so that when he does die, if that's how it goes, there's no body for him to jump into. So someone's sacrificing himself that way.
That's a good thought.
When I say someone, I mean Lincoln.
No.
Oh yeah, it's Lincoln. Lincoln's dying. It's
Lincoln?
either Lincoln or Joey, and Joey won't have any impact. Like you're gonna kill off a character, you're gonna kill off a character. It's like, hey, let's kill off one of the cool comic book characters that exist, or kill off one that's either named Joey, who's got a power to melt things, or an electric one who's got great powers. But it's like they didn't even give him a name. It's Lincoln.
Nah, it's back.
Not about Lash. It's about who's in the uniform.
I don't want it to be Lincoln. Lincoln would suck.
I'm okay with that going.
I don't know.
Nope.
I think
this episode proves that I'm okay with him going.
Well, let's get into the episode here. Let's talk about it. So the episode is going to. This is one of the reasons why the episode gets a little bit better of a credit for me. This is now the farthest point we're going back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I know I've talked about this when we had the expedition in the late 1800s. We saw in the first part of this season when they were going into the portal, we got to see some of the Hydra members going in.
The point that
And
you bring back ad nauseum.
I do, because I like when the TV show can do stuff that the movies aren't doing. Like, we haven't had a past movie, you know. There's nothing. I guess we had like the creation of the Infinity Stones, but
the Guardians of the Galaxy has a flashback at the beginning to the 80s.
Yes. Well, Peggy Carter takes place in the 50s, so
Captain America takes place in the
40s.
40s.
Yeah. So this one
there's quite a few flashbacks.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying we are thousands of years back. Thousands, they say. We see a native. He's running through the forest. IMDb says the native is a Mayan. So I just thought, I don't know if that's IMDb, so that's not canon, but it could be Mayan. So I'm gonna say he's a Mayan. But I think this is the farthest.
He's not yours,
and then
we
get to see some Kree Reapers. Kree Reapers. Are they in the comics? Are they Reapers in the comics?
I believe those were guys who failed at the WWE. They're a little overweight, so they figured they'll paint them blue for Blue Man Group.
I thought they were going to be the Reapers from Firefly.
No, they were not.
But they experiment. They captured this Mayan who is Hive. Essentially, he's going to become Hive. They experiment on him. They give him some of their blood. They do the Terrigenesis on him.
Some sort of blade into his neck.
A blade into the neck. And
when I
they transform him into Hive.
When I first saw this, my first thought was, oh my God, is this supposed to be like a variation on Eden, who is another one of the Secret Warriors, who is in Australia and who has a Aboriginal background,
which they mentioned. Eden.
Yes, and I thought, even though he didn't look Aboriginal, I saw him running around, and I'm like, oh, is this supposed to be like he's out back?
I saw the big forest though. They started off with a overhead shot of like a big dense forest. That's why.
Okay,
I thought it was,
that's my first hope was, and then I got it once I realized what it was.
Okay, so we have this awesome. This is one of the things I really liked about this episode. Just show me history. If you show me history like that, that's awesome. Great. So we cut back to present day. Hive is explaining to Daisy the history of himself. And he brings in the I'm assuming the last 3 Hydra members until there's not.
Until the Red Skull comes back and
But he brings last 3 Hydra members, and one of them we've seen these 3 before. They were part of the inner circle that Malik had.
To speak.
Yep, Kurt Vogel is the character's name. We get to see him again, and
here's an idea: when you're going to experiment on these guys,
do one at a time. I'm telling you, man. I wrote that down. It's so.
We ran out of people to use. We had 3 of them. Well, we just thought we'd get it right. Get it the first time. Get it right the first time.
That comes up a little bit later, so we'll talk about that. Back at the playground, we have a weird scene here where May just is a total ass to Lincoln for no reason. She's walking around, she's just being an ass to him. I'm like, why are you being so mean? Like, he messed up. What did he do? When Alicia was, when she was trying to kill him? Like, I don't understand at what point did Lincoln go wrong. She just, they killed May off, I'd be okay with that.
Did I kill him? But he's whiny. Okay.
That's fine.
You know what? Hashtag Stinkin' Lincoln. They called it in the episode, and I think that's the way I'm referring to. That's his code name now. We're going to refer to him as Stinkin' Lincoln.
We cut to Fitz and Simmons. They're trying to create a cure. And then they're talking about, how Hive can't be killed, and we're going to find out about that. Lincoln does volunteer to test this cure. I put that in quotation marks, the antitoxin. And then Coulson sits around for a long time watching a screen.
Great shot,
but I love practical.
I love this scene. I love this. Well,
the idea that all these people are running around his office, like.
Well, I don't care, but I'm just saying. I'm gonna pick apart this episode pretty badly, but this scene when they did this, I thought, okay, very cinematic, very well done. It was a great scene. I like the look of this.
And the facial recognition software finds Daisy, and she's in South Wyoming. And Coulson and Mac, they talk about how this can be a trap, and this is actually something that's going to come into play later. So we'll talk about that when that comes up. So in Wyoming, Daisy and Hive, they are now walking through this town. It's military infested using Malik's military.
Where was this filmed? Do you know?
I would assume Wyoming, but it could be any. It's probably in a lot.
It's
probably in a studio lot in California.
Because there's mountains in back, and I was wondering.
And
it didn't look cold, so it wasn't shot up in Vancouver, where it's like, oh, is that the same city from Once Upon a Time where they always shoot? So I don't know.
A little more history here. They talk about the war and how Hive got kicked off Earth, and he says Civil War. And then they talk about Captain America and Iron Man, and this is the closest we're gonna get to connection in the movie. This is as close as gonna get,
and it was like looking like, "Hey, fanboys, look what we did for you."
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, that was
pretty
weak.
Terrible. It was very terrible. I thought it was absolutely terrible. Like they're gonna be you create a super soldier and a billionaire in a suit that's gonna lead to war. Like, thank you.
I was waiting for it's gonna lead to war. and it won't be civil. It was like, it's like that's the next line you go. It's like hope nobody gets their head full of cobwebs and is a web head because of Spider-Man. It's like we get it when the movie's coming out.
I understand this episode was put together a couple months ago, shot like maybe 6 months ago,
which was
5
still
months.
No, not even that. No, those things weren't shot that. But anyways, it was still shot months after Civil War.
Yeah, it's one of those things like it sounds good at the time, and then when they come up to it, it's like, ooh,
ouch.
Anywho, so they do that. Anyways,
you know, I will say, but you know what? I'll bring up a point here because I did read people complaining about this episode. I looked at a lot of different reviews to see if I was way off base on this one, just kind of get touch base on things, and there was a couple of complaints about how this doesn't really tie into the movie yet. Doesn't tie into the movie yet. We don't know how the movie starts. That would lead in other words, the events or the catalyst is going to happen in the movie. Unlike the Winter Soldier, which had the whole situation with S.H.I.E.L.D. building up, yes, that made sense. Or Avengers Age of Ultron, when again, Hydra had the character leave the show to go be with Baron Strucker. There was those were pieces that were moving that story forward. But the Civil War thing, maybe the events start there where they actually talk about the Accords and all of those issues are going to happen there. So there can't be like, oh, I hope there's not going to be an issue because Captain America and Iron Man have been brewing for some time. It's not that. I don't. It's that. I think that's a false claim.
I think the movie.
Problem.
I'm hoping the movie does connect to the show, and they mention, oh, there's Inhumans running around the world now.
And I
hope
will
that
bet money that won't happen.
It would be nice if it did.
I know
mean,
it won't.
They
happen.
gotta mention the fact that there's people with powers running around the world now all over the place.
I will be dumbfounded.
If that I'm saying it would be nice to have that if they acknowledge, like, if they're gonna have the president in the movie. I don't think they're gonna have the president in the movie, but if they have any sort of thing like, hey, this is also going on with things like around the world. I would like a mention of that or something. It would be nice. We'll see. But you're right. We don't know. We don't know what Captain America is going to start off with, so we're going to find that out.
We could if we want to go online and wreck it.
Yeah, I don't want to go online and wreck it. So anyways, Radcliffe, he's running the experiment on the 3 Hydra members like we talked about, and their face melts. They get a good blobby face melt.
We haven't seen something that blobby good since the first X-Men movie where it happened there, the exact same effect. Remember? And the guy slipped through the metal bars.
Oh, yeah.
And then he eventually
melted.
That's a thing.
So nice. Back at the playground, we find out there's 4 volunteers who are coming from operations, and we get 2 of them we don't know. 2 of them we get to find out. One is Agent O'Brien. Interesting fact here, he's been in our show before. Actually, Agent O'Brien, this is not the first time he's on our show. He's played by Derek Phillips. He was last seen in the episode called Melinda, which was last season. He was when in the episode it was in the scene where Melinda's in the shower with Gardner
and O'Brien.
It was just 7 years ago, and so that's when O'Brien was in he ended up coming in.
He was in the shower with them?
Yes, he was in the shower.
I've got to go watch that episode.
So O'Brien has been on this show before. So he's a I don't even call him a red shirt. He's like he's a no shirt. Like he's only been in 2 episodes. He's such a minor character. Agent Anderson is a bigger
Anderson's a star. He's a star.
But apparently, according to IMDb, we will get to see more of O'Brien, which I think is great. I think that's cool. Like keep developing minor S.H.I.E.L.D. agents.
Kind of came out of nowhere how not only do these characters, the other one's name was...
The other name is Agent Piper, played by Brianna Venskus, who I don't watch the show, but Jerry does. She played Agent Vasquez on Supergirl for a bunch of episodes.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. She's basically playing the same damn character.
I love that she's doing DC, and that's great.
I liked it, and when I was watching it, I thought of you, how excited you had to be. Like, there's people talking, and it's, did you say the one guy's name was O'Brien, right?
Yeah.
And who's your favorite character on Star Trek Next Generation?
It's not my favorite character.
But you were so happy about it.
I was so happy.
Rave about
when I was a
Colony
kid,
O'Brien.
So little history story here.
Here we go again.
When I was younger, Jerry had taken me to a Star Trek convention.
What a good brother that was.
And this was right before Deep Space Nine was coming out. I remember all the hype that Deep Space Nine, because it's the first spinoff that's coming.
What convention was this?
Yeah, you remember that? It was Deep Space Nine was the new show coming out.
Was this the one that had Scotty at the convention?
Yes.
All right, I remember this one.
And it was a big convention and all that. But the big thing was, it's like O'Brien was going to be a main actor on the show, and he had come from Star Trek. And as a kid, like, I believe your words were than anything.
Gee Willikers.
Yeah, Gee Willikers. Actually, I said that was my catchphrase.
That was your catchphrase.
So,
speaking of IMDb, the president won't be in Captain America.
Did you look it
Civil
up?
War. I just want to see. I looked up him and it did not say that he was in the movie. So.
Okay. Fair enough.
Spoiler,
Fair enough.
there will be no president.
So we have these characters, which we're going to get a little bit more about them a little bit. So Lincoln, Fimmons.
Sits Fimmons.
Yes.
I love that.
Simmons
Stinking
and Fitz
Lincoln.
and Coulson, they're all talking about Lincoln taking the antitoxin, and Fitz and Simmons
They're
have a
giving
little
their
bit
pros and
disagreement.
cons.
And then Coulson's like, no, can't do it.
And thank God that this is one of those shows and organizations where when the commander-in-chief says something, everybody listens to him. They don't question him or do
This
anything.
episode has so many people not listening to
I
him.
know. God, he's got to be humiliated. It's humiliating. It's like, hey, why do I say anything?
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'll dock your pay. Wait a minute. We don't pay you. I'll put you in the brig. Do we have a brig? I guess we have a little room down there with a wall. I don't get it. Makes no sense.
Back in Wyoming, we're at a bar. We get to see Alicia here. She slides a beer to herself, which answers our question from last episode. Can she only make 4? No, she can make more than 4 because 3 have died, and now we get to see another 2 more. So she can make.
No.
We don't know the limit. Yeah. One
Here's-
died.
Here, let's break that down. You think there's a total of 4. I'm saying she actually. Well, this is one theory. Is when somebody said that maybe
Coulson
she makes.
says she's 4 Inhumans and 1.
Okay, and let's guess if the theory is that she can make 4. We saw 1 die previously by Lash.
Yep.
And then so that's 1 gone. So she has 3. She has 3 special ones now. So then we saw 2 more die.
Yep. Last
Right?
episode. Yep.
So that would leave her with just 1 clone and 1 her.
So then why is she 4 Inhumans and 1 and not 5 Inhumans and 1?
I'm just saying we have never as they get knocked out, we're not seeing anything that's showing us like, oh my God, because this episode, I think this was the last we're going to see of her.
Well, that's a good question. We'll talk about that.
I'm fairly positive this is the last we're seeing of her just from watching that. Again, I haven't looked at IMDb. No, I'm just saying.
Well, we'll talk about that because I disagree, but we'll
Okay.
talk about that.
Well, I thought we were talking.
No,
about
we will. I want to get to that scene when we
Okay.
talk about it.
James.
And Daisy, they're playing pinball, and I'm super surprised they didn't use a reference here where she shakes the pinball machine and it says tilt. I don't know why they didn't do it. Like it seemed like a earthquake thing where it says tilt. Like it seemed like a perfect setup for it.
You tremors.
They talk about Daisy's connection to S.H.I.E.L.D., and I want to also point out Daisy still has scratches on her face.
Yes, but they've gotten rid of the Band-Aids.
Yes,
They're moving it a little bit
they're
forward.
less and less, but they still have it on her. So she did take the beating from Malik, and it still has its lasting impact on her face.
That's a running theme on this show, having somebody get on top of somebody and just start punching them in the face.
Yep. Radcliffe is working in his little medical bay there. He's defending himself with Hive, and Hive is like, I could just kill you and take all your
Hive
knowledge.
goes pure evil here now and kind of out of character for what we've seen him at this point. He's been methodical. He's actually trying to...
Well,
he's trying to take the Magneto role, which, well, basically these are mutants, and he's taking the Magneto role as if everybody would just go along with his thing. It would all be good. And he's not necessarily evil. He's just got his agenda. And here he's like, I could choke you and all this stuff. It did seem a little mustache
it came out.
twirling.
That's true. It did come out of the fact that Radcliffe was like, well, it was your fault that this didn't work. And he's like, it's my fault. Mr. Perfect, my fault. And so he's like, I don't need you. Like, I like the idea that, yeah, I really don't need you. I could actually go and you take over your body, get all your memories, and I could do this all myself. And I like that. And Hive actually spared him because of that. Because I don't think Hive is evil. I think he just has his own agenda.
The trick with that, though, is to take someone's memories. Yeah, you can get all his memories, but the deductive reasoning of that person, you don't know what it takes to be creative and whatnot.
I mean,
because he can't control him.
Yes.
Like, he can't control him the way he would control an Inhuman. Otherwise, he'd be controlling every human around him.
Well, no, that's true. But the way Hive talks to Ward still in his body, he's always like, yeah, it's like I talked to Ward. Ward said he was happy to die, kind of stuff. Like Hive still talks to the people that he's taken over. So I think he can go. I think he can go that route with it if they wanted to. So back at the playground. No. I want to also mention one more thing before we leave this Wyoming area. He unveils the devices, and he's like, "You should be terrified." Cut to commercial. Like, I don't think it was that terrifying.
No, it
what
wasn't.
happens because of this? It was definitely not what I thought it was going to be. Anticlimactic.
Very.
So back at the playground, we get Agent Anderson. He's there. He's doing his thing.
They're spinning him off next year.
You know who's gonna die? You know who's gonna die in the shuttle?
He's like, "Are
Agent
you
Anderson.
kidding me?" With it's like his name's in the opening credits. He's like, "This is it. Call my parents. I made it. It's gonna be huge."
The tactical team does some briefing. Fitz and Simmons talk about their agreement, and Simmons ex Milton. And I know Jerry loves this stuff. He just rolled his eyes.
Yes.
And then they stumble upon Lincoln taking the toxin.
Boy, who jabs their arm like that with a needle?
And I think
it was
it's a cool
low.
effect,
It was, but it's like he went low on the arm. It's like, I'm going to hey, dude, that needle was big. That's coming out the other side. That thing is shooting right through him.
Well, if you're going to do that, you might as well jab as hard as you can. Yes. But
so
he basically
gives the middle finger to Coulson and says, I ain't doing what you're going to say. And he does that.
This episode's also been a stumble upon episode. Lincoln stumbles upon Fitz and Simmons talking, and now Fitz and Simmons stumble upon Lincoln. Like, he's been waiting there for like half an hour, just like, when are they going to walk by? Now I can show them I'm doing this. He fries the whole room. So back at Zephyr
and
1
a bunch of their
Wyoming,
computers and their hard drives.
Yep.
Classic Lincoln. I'm so sick of him at this point.
Maybe I'm more forgiving of him because I really liked him in the show Tomorrow People.
I think that
might be what
clouding
it is.
your judgment.
It might be. Back on Zephyr 1 in Wyoming, the tactical team, they stumble upon James. They see him at the bar. May goes in undercover, discover information from him.
Oh, God, this was brutal.
We find out that James is 33. I thought that was nice. And he blows up a pool.
He's got part Scorpio, but he's a Leo.
He blows up a pool ball, which I'm like, no, how people going to play pool after that?
Yeah, exactly.
What a jerk.
I'm not saying the idea of May acting like that. It's like, okay, that's clever, the way she does that, but oh, good golly. I'm just...
Yep. Oh, they said golly. That's awesome, too. Hive and Daisy, they talk about where she stands with S.H.I.E.L.D. because that's kind of the big thing with this episode.
The people at S.H.I.E.L.D. are my friends.
Friends who will turn on you. Who will try and sabotage the connection we share.
Only because they don't understand, but they will if we can make them share our connection.
You want to put your friends through the Kree experiment?
Once Radcliffe has worked out the kinks, yeah. Yeah, I do.
They may not be receptive to that ideal.
Well, I have to at least try. It's the only way we can save them.
And what if you fail? If they decide to turn on you instead, to come after us with their weapons of war, to kill me, to kill all of us, what then?
Then I would rip their hearts out.
Back at the playground, Fitz and Simmons are very stern with Lincoln. You disobeyed Coulson. We're mad at you, and you fried everything. And then they have to go in and get a brain sample from Lincoln, from Jerry's favorite stinking Lincoln.
I was hoping they would see that scene where she's drilling into his skull. Here you go, idiot.
Back in Wyoming, May takes out James after he tells May where Hive is in the abandoned mine.
Hey, man, if you hit somebody with a pool stick across their back, that will obviously
Maybe he got his neck and his head.
I saw the back, and that would knock him unconscious.
Was it the thick end of the pool cue? Because some of those pool sticks the thick ends are heavy.
All right.
I don't know. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I know. I wish he would have beat him up more.
If James makes it to the end and next season, he's going to be the new love interest with Daisy because Lincoln's dying.
I don't think Lincoln's dying.
Yeah, they have a relationship in the comics. Just
so
so
they go
know.
to.
I'm not kidding.
Okay.
I'm not lying.
So back at the mine, the tactical team, they go into the mine. They see the transmitting device with the Kree symbols on it, and that's what it's doing. And then I took a look at this radar screen. Is that the S.H.I.E.L.D. symbol that was on there? Because Agent Anderson's like, look at the screen, and there's this big. They see the.
I saw a big red blob. I thought
it's a shield. I think it's the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo, but it could be something else. It looked like it had like two wings. Like
I didn't see the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo there.
You hearing this?
Sounds like some kind of radio.
There's definitely no radio I've ever seen.
I've seen that writing before.
Sir?
Get everyone out of there now!
Colonel, move out! Go! Go! Move in!
Who's coming? S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Not the ones who made you. The ones who made me.
If they see the object come hurtling through space, it comes and lands onto the mine and blows that thing up. Quick question here. So we have alien life forms coming in and landing on this Earth, essentially, and they say it's not a spaceship; it's smaller. It's more like a satellite. Wouldn't like Tony Stark or the Vision or someone in the world?
I will give a pass here.
If
Here's
aliens have landed, and we just remember last time aliens came to Earth, outside of Thor, the last time aliens came to Earth was the attack on. Right? Is that the last thing? Is there anything else? No, we have in England. We had the Dark Elves.
Yes.
Like anytime aliens come to Earth, there should be like alien detection. I know.
Even in Guardians of the Galaxy at the beginning, in the '80s, because
that's it. But that was before the attack on New York.
Well, I have an excuse for this. The ship, the Kree ship that was coming in, was small and it had technology to avoid everything.
Shield saw it.
Except for the fact that this particular shield unit is focusing directly in on this one location, and they got all their probes and stuff there. And so the reason I put that theory to the test is because on the radar, they don't like see an orbital path or anything like that. They go, "Sir, look at this," and it's like, and it's going right through there and then instantly hitting. So I think they only got seconds warning because they happen to have their stuff there.
I'm not buying it because in the real world we live in,
doesn't have blue giant aliens.
There's detection stuff and satellites all over that if a meteorite comes into this Earth, we can.
But this technology has ways of jamming that.
I'm still not buying it.
Oh, I'm buying it.
I'm
over it. Otherwise, why is that?
I'm just
otherwise,
saying,
why is that entire town not being set upon by the United States military or SHIELD or the AT?
What is being set on by SHIELD?
No, they leave. They're like, "Oh, we gotta get out of here," as opposed to sending everybody
or sending in the Avengers
or bomb.
Or sending the Avengers in.
What are the little discs they throw? What are those things called?
Splinter bombs,
which come into play later, and I have a question about them.
But at this point, like, the Avengers exist as a team right now. There's
They're
the
busy.
new Avengers.
They're busy.
Doing what?
They're doing
alien,
stuff.
just an alien thing. And this is.
Oh, you gotta get past
so,
this. You gotta get past it.
Back in okay, so we go to the church, which is in the town. Hive is talking about how the Reapers have been in stasis just outside the solar system for thousands of years.
You know why they did that? So they could use the same two actors because
Yeah.
thousands of years went by and they didn't want to paint two other people. So these guys are in stasis, which giving again props to the show, they wrote a way to do that. They're like, oh, okay. Now, again, that's also saying that the Kree technology has not advanced in thousands and thousands of years. Like, that's it. Kree technology, it's the same technology they had thousands and thousands of years ago, which I always have a problem with that because, look at Earth technology. Look how much technology speeds and advances so
where
fast.
Kree technology is at right now, because in Guardians of the Galaxy we see Kree.
And they're basically saying, oh, yeah, that we hit our peak thousands of years ago, and now we're just maintaining. We don't do that. I mean, yes, we have certain technologies that are the same, like the combustible engine, like the engine, but look at technology. Look at this iPad. Look at all,
I agree. Hive wants Daisy to go get blood from a living Kree. That's what they need. Back at the back at the mine. So, talking about this, Agent Piper's reaction is probably the most realistic of the show. She's like, "Are we going to talk about how aliens just landed?"
That was great.
Like
that was
they
great.
just landed here. This is like no deal for you guys here because they don't share this with the rest of Shield. It's just that little tight core group. So in the town, the Kree, this is where they fight Alicia here. They fight her two clones.
No, they fight the clone and the real her. Did you not see the real her had her eyes white and she's connected so that when the one clone dies, she's like, no, and she does the scream thing again and she dies.
Okay.
Her eyes did the way
she's dead until they say she has another clone out there.
She's done.
She's dead until they say she has another clone out there. That was a clone, or she can clone herself and
they killed the main one. It's over with. I'm just saying.
And
again, she's not a character. It's cool
feels that
power,
way.
but it's not a character from the books.
It feels that way. It feels a waste. It feels very wasteful.
I think they can keep pulling in characters from the books. Again, the comic books has thousands of characters to go from. We don't need characters called Codename Joey, Codename Alicia.
Well, here's the good thing. Here's the good thing about the show, though. Yeah, you're right. We want them to bring in comic book characters, but we also know the show is not afraid to kill the comic book characters. They did with Victoria Hand.
She died in the comic books, though.
So, but they could. They could kill off James if they wanted to. I don't think they're gonna kill him off. I think he's around for a while.
James, no way.
I think he's gonna be around for a while, but they could. Why not? They do in Daredevil.
Yes.
So the Kree fight Alicia. They win. My big question this whole time was, where's Gira at? They got big metal blades. Gira could just grab one of those blades and cut off their legs. Like where's he at in this town? He's one of the most powerful supervillains out there right now.
I think that you have to assume that they're off doing little things. Like, for example, he was the one who probably made them find out that they had the money to buy this town and everything.
He's going to be in the Captain America movie.
No,
He's going to be our
won't.
Sitwell.
That would be fun.
The tactical team they watch on. They say that the Kree can. She's like, the Kree can sense something. So I don't know if that's a Kree thing I don't know if it's just a speculation. It's like that Kree senses something in the church. Or not in the church, but in the medical area. Anyways, Mac breaks his order here, and this is when he goes in after Daisy, which Jerry just rolled his eyes.
Once again, the commanding officer is giving an order, and he thinks, this is Mac, who will probably scream at anybody else not following orders, and he's like, I ain't going to follow orders. I'm going to do exactly the opposite. once characters do this more than one time, how in any future episodes can you sit there and respect them? Like, how can you tell Lincoln to do this or Daisy to do that when you don't follow orders yourselves? Well, that's different. No, it isn't. Bite me. You're just
But he's doing it because he cares for
I don't
Daisy.
care. I don't care. The chain of command. He like lies to Coulson's face because they're having the argument earlier, and then Coulson's like, "Hey, we got to get on the same page, aka my page, because I'm the boss." And Mac lies to his face, goes, "Okay, we're on the same page, but I'm gonna totally not do what you say later on because I don't care." But luckily, you have Lincoln on your side, who will follow your orders.
They've already established that Lincoln does go off book. Like
The only one who follows orders is May.
Colson's been trying to work with Lincoln. They've been establishing that he's a loose cannon with stuff like that, which he has a previous, and he's new on the team, and Coulson's had to reprimand him for this kind of stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily say that Lincoln's out of the blue. Mac, yes, and I understand why Mac is doing it, but I also agree that like the sentimentality of breaking orders is not necessarily a good thing on this team at all. You don't see Piper running around going, "No, Daisy, I gotta go save her." Oh, Piper. Piper is not listed in any more episodes, FYI.
What?
On IMDb. So Daisy has a fight with some Kree, which is pretty cool. She starts breaking his limbs. And breaks his back.
Just broke his spine. Yeah, that was some. In fact, actually, yeah, that was like, is he dead?
He's like got a gooey arm at one point, gummy arm. Back at the church, we finally get to see Hive going at it. Hive is fighting with the other Kree as the team obviously watches on here.
I like the team like going, "Hey, let's hang on. Let's see if these guys can take care of our problem for us."
Back in the town, Mac confronts Daisy. I thought Chloe's acting was really good here. She's really believable in what she says. Like the way she's delivering her lines, about I really believe her.
I do too. I think they've handled this very well.
It's really well done.
They haven't made her trapped inside, even though he makes the statement that she's fighting it, and maybe there is something there.
By
but
her
it's
showing up
subconsciously.
on the videos, by being captured by satellite images or whatever, on a program that she wrote, that was his logic of like, hey,
because it clearly wasn't a trap. She didn't even know.
Yeah, something deep and down inside of you is trying to be saved. Maybe that's true, but this episode is really trying to put the kibosh on that.
A part of you wants to come back. That's how we found you.
What are you talking about?
A few hours ago, we received security footage of you outside this garage. It sent a red flag up our system, the same system you helped create.
So what, you think that I meant for this to happen?
It wasn't an accident. Something inside you is resisting.
I slipped up because I wasn't thinking like a spy anymore. Because I don't need to be a SHIELD agent anymore.
Tremors.
No, Mac, I cared about you too. After what happened with my parents, I needed someone, and you were almost like a big brother to me. But let's be honest, you struggled to be a real brother to the one that you have.
Leave Ruben out of this.
I understand how you're feeling. But you don't need to feel alone anymore. We can fix it.
And what you're feeling, it's not real.
What we feel is reality. It's the way the world was meant to be.
Not my world.
I really wanted to save you, Mac.
Yeah. Me too.
Daisy gives him the opportunity to leave. The Mac destroys the Kree with a splinter bomb.
Boy, if only they took those unbelievable splinter bombs and shot them at Hive.
I don't think it would stop Hive.
Well, that was actually on Twitter. Marshall Tenney, who always comments on Twitter. Thank you, Marsh, by the way. He brought that point up, and I was already had that written down that I was going to be talking about that. But they could throw tons of those splinter bombs on him, and they would have to do something, because he said that when they got that device out of the ground, it's the one thing that could kill him. Apparently, the one thing that kill him is 2 old 1,000-year-old Krees with a couple of blades.
Yeah,
he thought those were going to kill him.
Straight.
And, exactly, and that didn't do it. So I don't know, kind of weak.
I agree. So at this point, Daisy beats the hell out of Mac.
Yes, she does.
I'm like, Daisy, just keep hitting his bullet wound that's in his arm. That it has not clearly healed all the way yet, because it couldn't have. He just got shot like a couple days ago. That kind of stuff.
She kind of pressed his arms down with like both sides, but it's not like, it doesn't pin your arms down unless you shattered the bones inside.
I think she did break his arms though. I thought that's what she was doing, but I could be wrong. So we get to see that Hive can hold his own against a Kree in a hand-to-hand fight, but then Hive was like, "Oh, I also have these superpowers that just melt you." Done. Like he's
Another grisly scene on the show.
Then at this point, the team takes its opportunity to shoot at Hive.
Are you waiting for all those guys but May to get killed at this point?
I didn't know what to expect, to be honest.
But come on, as soon as these people started talking, you're like, "Oh, these are
no."
red
Well,
shirts.
yeah, I yes and no.
There's 4 of them.
Yeah,
they're gonna die, and it's like the
any
fact
of
that they didn't, I was like, "Wow, props to the show for
keeping people around." Again, that's what I want.
I guess they realized we need these guys to carry May or Mac back
That's
on
true. Yep.
the vehicle.
So Hive regenerates, which I thought was a cool little.
Well,
little
if
scene
you're going to, hey, if you can't get him with just one shot, you might as well just run. I mean, don't keep shooting or anything. Shooting another missile or splinter bombs. This part was weak again. They should have been written
Especially
in some
since
way
they said
that they could have
Coulson
done.
opened up the locker for us. They have a lot of weapons that.
Nope, only one and a couple bullets. Bullets in that. That's it. It was very weak. Run for it, guys. We tried that one thing. Yeah.
On a side note, May got to shoot Ward again, so we talked about that before, but she gets to shoot Ward again. And Daisy's about to kill Mac. I'm assuming Daisy's about to kill Mac here.
And so at this point, May does exactly what she did in the last episode with with Coulson. They just like, well, we have to kill that Alicia, so we only shoot at the head. We shoot the head, right? That's what she did. She figured we better take him out.
Well, this is a TV show thing. They couldn't just drop Daisy there.
So they weakly shoot her in the arm.
She'll be fine in the next episode.
Oh yeah.
It's a flesh wound.
It's gone. If it's not on the face, you won't see it again.
And then the team evacuates, which is a cool little scene where they evacuate here in the pod.
That part was very cool. You're right. When that pod came down, I'm like, yes, smart.
Back at the playground, we see Simmons patching up Mac. Piper gets to tell the team that Hive is indestructible.
Now, let me think. Do you think the reason S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't putting, that's it. When they pull out, they don't just go like, fire everything, kill us, is because they're still, Coulson is like, Daisy's there. We can't risk it,
Yeah,
people.
absolutely.
Which is garbage. I understand that they've established that human thing, but maybe, okay, you know what? I take it back. I wouldn't follow Coulson's order either. Mac, Lincoln, don't listen to that guy because clearly he's letting his personal feelings get in the way of what is arguably something you should be doing. There's your tactic.
Here's what's going to happen, right?
Fire.
What's going to happen is after all this is said and done and Daisy becomes a good guy again and then she saves the world, it's going to be like, wow, it's a good thing we didn't kill her in this bombing raid that Jerry wanted because now she's come back and saved the world. That's what's going to happen.
I'll buy that if nobody else gets killed because they didn't do that now.
That's fair. No, that's fair too. People are gonna die.
Oh yeah, they're gonna die.
People gonna die. Back at the playground, like where I was just talking about. Simmons tells Lincoln how the experiment failed. So this is another failed experiment here, the same way we had the failed experiments with the Hydra members. So that's where the title comes from.
So nothing.
FYI.
So in other words, this whole
Nothing
thing with
happened.
Lincoln was a waste.
Well, you know what? Again, it's a storytelling thing. It's to show us what are the options? How can we stop him?
No, I get that. But again, if you miss this episode, that part of the storyline, you miss nothing. It's almost as if this whole episode was about getting Kree blood that didn't matter because at the end Daisy goes, oh, by the way, I've got blood, drain me.
Yes.
So both of these storylines, I know it. I get it. It moved Daisy's storyline forward
Well,
where
it
she's
moved-
like, I won't.
It didn't move Daisy's. It moved everyone else's opinion.
Well, no, she said at the
Mac,
end when she goes to Hive, she goes, "You were right, I was wrong."
Yeah, it takes her and takes Mac going, she's not savable. I tried. She tried to kill me. Like
I know.
Mac can't be like, we gotta try again.
If you're gonna miss one episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. this season, this is the episode to miss.
There
That's how they
wasn't-
should have
and
promoted
so
it.
basically, that's the end of the episode. We'll stop right there. I mean, basically, it comes down to will love and loyalty cure Daisy? Like that's the magic cure is gonna be.
And the button obviously was yet another small scene. It has no connection to
yes.
anything from Civil War. Nice looking scene, but like,
Why?
Why? It might as well just run the commercial.
It's because why wouldn't they promote their movie that they're?
The most exciting thing of the entire episode, well, two things. One, they didn't break in with a political thing, which was nice. It was just on the bottom of the screen. Like,
Yep.
oh, I guess he's not running anymore. That's fantastic. And then the other thing I really liked was the preview to next week, and they showed James with his glowing chain.
Yes.
And I saw that. I was like, yes, there it is. That's right out of the comic book. In the comics, I believe the chain is the only thing he can heat up. But again, he's not Inhuman in the comics. But I just was excited to see that.
Cool. So yeah, okay. Talking about this episode did not make it any better for me. I was hoping it would because the point.
Well, I wasn't
Jerry,
helping. I
Jerry,
wasn't helping.
You are completely right. This episode didn't advance much forward. It was kind of,
Well, you did get
Simmons.
Simmons and Fitz talking about, hey, let's not confuse our arguments here
again,
for here.
it puts this is like our lowest point outside of maybe somebody dying. It's Hive is indestructible. You can't stop Hive. You can't cure the people who have been affected by Hive. What do you do? What happens? How do they stop Hive? How do they get Daisy back? At this point, we have no options unless something comes out of nowhere, like, it's the Absorbing Man, Crusher Creel's blood. We have to use that still, or we're gonna time travel, or I don't know. Once Hive is away, then Daisy will feel better about it. Or I mean, there's limited options, and we don't have those are the options we know right now. So something's gonna have to happen within the next couple episodes that's gonna give us an option of how to stop Hive. Do we think we're gonna stop Hive by the end of the season?
Yes,
You think it's his storyline's gonna get wrapped up at the end of the season?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know how they're going to do it, or if Brett is leaving the show, but we'll see.
They could pull a total 180 on us, or a left turn or right turn, whatever. They could change it up on us. I mean, I throw the time travel. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could come to something where it does that, where it's like poof, out of nowhere this happens. Maybe because of Captain America: Civil War, maybe not. But they could do that with us, which I think would be cool.
Well, like you said, Captain America is the next thing in the storyline, or part of the storyline that we will be covering, and then we're down to the final 2 episodes of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the season, but actually 3 hours. The finale is a 2-hour one.
That's awesome. That's a movie. Anything can happen.
Well, they just decided to do their scheduling. They said, let's get it all in the May sweeps, and that's how they end up doing that. For whatever reason, I don't know if they planned it or if they just kind of put it on the books. They can only get up from here because this was a downer. Not story-wise, just like, nothing happened. Oh, look. Oh, my God, it's so shocking that they killed the last 3 Hydra people who we didn't even know about, and it didn't really matter. Oh, my gosh, there's just so many spots. I'm not going to reiterate.
Well, I mean, I guess the big thing is going to come that this experiment's going to work, this Radcliffe experiment, which means he can turn humans into Inhumans, which means this could be a thing where after Captain War Civil War happens on it, so they have nothing come up, they can release the mist on the world. Isn't that something from the comics?
Well, that's kind of what the
fish oils did, but that was
in the
smaller
comic
part.
books. There's a Terrigen mist cloud that is just traveling the world through.
I don't think they're going to do it that big, but I mean they could do something like that.
I think they've already covered that angle with the fish elements, and that's exactly the fish eggs and the fish oil, because it only affects the Inhumans who aren't inhuman yet, who haven't gone through it.
Yes,
which is what the show is doing. This mist would affect human beings in theory. And the books have never done that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be really rough to have every human on the planet turning into an
The only difference is in the comic books, again, is the Terrigen mist. The only thing that the comic book does that this show doesn't do is something they can do in the books, is not only does the Terrigen mist cloud make people who have inhuman traits become inhuman, but it also kills mutants. Because they got to get them mutants out of there. Why do they kill them? They got a case of the Fox studioitis or something like that.
We also could have in this last 2-hour episode, do they bring back in Hunter and Bobby? That could happen.
It depends, because their Marvel's Most Wanted pilot that's been shot is in doubt.
Well, that's in doubt now. Obviously, our finale has been shot already. They've already done all that. They might be editing it still, but it's been shot already.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how far that. I know shows
at least
are
a month. They got to be a month, just in case something happens.
Depends.
I know for a fact that they're a month, because that's one of the things that they had to plan for with
I just read a
Captain
tweet
America.
though that tweet. I can't believe this. Chloe was saying that they're shooting that now. Actually,
the finale is shooting it right now,
or parts of it now. Yeah.
Wow, I would think they would have.
Well, it's still I think.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. This episode.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. This episode was a downer, but I still love the show.
We had the farthest back the Marvel Cinematic Universe has ever gone.
God, you have a problem with that.
No, I like when they establish that. They can't.
I
go
know
back
you do.
now. They can't change that in this world. They can't go back and be like.
Doctor Strange can change it.
Humans have only existed for 500 years magically. Or so. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the.
Oh, speaking of Doctor Strange, radical theory. The character played blah blah blah. The guy who's in Doctor Strange. One of the villains.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
No. The villain, Michael, whatever his name. He was actually Lashif in Casino Royale.
Okay.
And he was also in the TV show Hannibal. He played Lecter and that. he's in Doctor Strange, and nobody's not sure who he's playing, whatever. He's got these like crusty looks around his eyes. Here's a great theory. He's playing Doctor Doom. Like because Fox has the Fantastic Four, but Fox had to go to Marvel Studios and negotiate with them the rights to do X-Men related TV shows because they didn't have the rights to that. Mm-hmm. And Marvel gave them the okay. Why did they give them the okay? Because they probably got something out of it. So did they get some, the Fantastic Four stuff or the villains? Would that be awesome if that was like, oh my God, that's Doctor Doom. They're introducing him there.
One of the greatest villains.
Yes, he is.
Period.
It's in the name, Doom.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
As a side tangent,
I can't believe they would keep that under wraps that well. But I mean, I don't know. It'd be cool if they kept that under
Doom
wraps.
is coming.
We'll see. That'd be awesome. That'd be great. I'd like it. And then they make a Fantastic Four TV show.
There's been talk about that for Netflix and stuff. Oh, here's a great theory for that. Or somebody actually, this is the last thing I'm going to do, and then we'll wrap this up. But I thought this was a great way of dealing with the Fantastic Four if Marvel ever got them back. And this was somebody's theory. I can't take credit for it, and I apologize for not giving it, but I thought it was brilliant. Is the Fantastic Four are from the past, 70s, whatever they were. They were around the time when Hank Pym was young, and he was Ant-Man and Wasp and stuff. You can go in the 80s, 70s, whatever you want to do. They're in the past. They have adventures. There's even reference to them like Captain America, although we haven't mentioned them yet. And then something happens to them where they go to the negative zone or whatever after their movie or some adventure happens. And the negative zone or wherever they go, time doesn't work right. So like in Avengers the Infinity War, which, by the way, they're renaming those two movies.
Not Part 1, Part 2. Fascinating dialogue on that, by the way. Why they don't call it Part 1, Part 2, and how Hollywood...
But anyways, all of a sudden, in one of those movies, the negative zone portal or something opens up and the Fantastic Four come into the movie. They're already established in the Marvel Universe in the past. And everybody's like, oh my God, that's like Captain America. And that would be a great way of not having to tell their origin, giving them still the gravitas as being the first family, the original heroes, or some of them in that universe. I just thought that would be a brilliant way to do it. Is you can tell an older story, have them get some sort of time travel thing, and then they can be in the modern day. They could still have their movie where they're the first or one of the first. And at the end, they also join in and they're right there. You have a giant, it's clobbering time, boom, happens.
Black Human Torch, it'll be great.
Where can they find out more about it?
Sorry. You can listen to our podcast on People should listen to our podcast on Fantastic Four. It's a Fantastic Four podcast.
It's fun. It's a good time.
No, it wasn't. The podcast was. The movie was not.
So check us out on Facebook.
Yes, check us out in all those places we said to you. Go there. Look at us. Do it. Do it. You know you want to. You know you want to.
Thank you, Shia. I think that's what you were doing, right? You weren't doing Shia LaBeouf right there?
No.
Do it. Just do. Come on. No?
No.
Oh, that's a different one. Again, coming up on the feed, Captain America Civil War. We'll be doing a review for that. Listen to that. And after that, S.H.I.E.L.D. So let's get to it. Until then, I'm Jerry.
I'm Joel. We'll talk to you next time.